many ghosts are there?
2.
Just 2 ghosts?
Yeah, two coming at Caelin on either side. Yeah.
All right. They're ignoring him.
Well,
He's passed out.
But they saw that he's marked and are wandering away towards. Yeah.
Do I get an action to try to defend myself or prepare?
Yeah, you
myself?
absolutely can.
Okay, I didn't know if we were just skipping.
Okay,
I
fainted, so I'm gonna use bathroom.
There's no order.
There's no order, so if you want to do something, Marco wants to do something, it could happen.
I mean, I'm a fighter. I'm gonna spring over there and defend you.
There is a item called arcane implements. What does that mean?
It's whatever you want it to mean. So arcane implements are
Great. I'm gonna have a weapon for ghosts.
Well, it's like arcane implements to perform a ritual and stuff like that. So interact with them. So yeah, you could mark that off and gain increased effect against them. That makes sense.
Sure. Okay. Basically, yeah.
We could flash back to say you wanted to get one of those. That's fine. Yeah, mark that off.
Well, I guess we've been dealing with these enough that I'm like.
What's this weapon you acquire?
I don't. What harms ghosts?
So actually, oh shit, you're from the Dagger Isles. God damn it.
So I feel like I should know.
No. Yeah, let me
something about this.
Yeah, your people live without lightning barriers.
Okay.
So that means that they're.
You know a ton about this.
Yeah. So what? I think you could actually probably inscribe some sort of rune or something into a common sword or whatever the weapon is, and then it can affect ghosts easier. Or I don't know. What are you thinking? You're definitely relying on your heritage for this. I think.
Yeah. Well, I haven't really had time to think about something for this, so I don't know what really.
Yeah, no,
cool thing to come up with right now.
I don't know. Take a few seconds and consider.
Yeah. You could have daggers from the Dagger Isles.
The in-universe reason usually, at least the thing I think it is, I'm not sure, is that they have specially designed old temples which have wards put on them over years to protect them from ghosts, and they live in those. But I don't know how exactly that you want to carry that forward when you establish how the Dagger Isles people do it right here and now.
We could give her time to think about it and take care of
Marco's I'd appreciate that actually, if you could just... Or is that not...
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, let's do that.
I don't really know what to think off the top of my head.
We can skip over and just say it's a weapon for now.
Okay.
And then you can come up with what it is later.
Okay.
Sure.
But what kind of weapon is it?
It is a blade.
Okay. Like a saber or like a cutlass or...
It's more like a machete.
Okay. Cool.
Because I think that since we lived in a jungle area, it actually is very common for people to have machetes, so it would not be abnormal for someone to have a spirit warding weapon.
Are you unconscious on the ground now?
Gotcha.
Yes.
There is something, if you're walking around through the jungle and you're cutting stuff, you might want something that you could, if there happened to be a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't happen frequently, but every once in a while it happens, and you don't want to be that person.
So go for it.
Okay.
So what are you doing then? You're fighting this thing?
Yeah, I'm getting in stance, and I'm going to just hack at it.
So what are you rolling? I think it's skirmish. That makes the most sense.
Great. I have 1 in skirmish.
Cool. So you roll 1 dice. It's going to be a desperate position, I think.
Great. I get that XP.
Standard effect.
If I live.
You get it whether you live or not.
So, Marco, hold on. Do you guys want to make this like a group action where it's like a tandem takedown of these guys?
I don't know how you're going to take me down from the roof.
He's going to jump.
Oh, okay.
Are you attacking one of the...
That's his whole power now.
His power is jumping like a cat?
Or you could set her up to give her great effect.
2 sessions ago where you can jump 3 stories.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He
has
down
Yoda fighting. There's those 7 schools of Jedi fighting. The Yoda fighting skill is acrobatic craziness.
So do you want?
I don't need to be ghostly for minutes. I can.
No,
I
moments
can probably
is fine.
swing with
Yeah.
moments. Yeah. Okay. In that case, I'm more willing to push myself to withstand jumping from buildings.
Yeah.
2 for shifting, 2 for jumping, and I'm coming in.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I would, since I kind of put you up there at the start of the scene, I would assume you can kind of be in a position when this all kicks off where you can jump off without having to push yourself.
Yeah, I would have rather been on the first floor.
which is fine.
I mean, 1 story up instead of 3.
Which is fine. You can start moving down when this whole thing started off.
Cool.
Yeah, no reason to pay stress for that.
All right. I'm gonna shift into the Ghost Veil and jump in and help.
Okay.
So group action.
So yeah, do you guys want to make it a group action? Do you want to set her up? Do you want to set him up?
What
are
you looking to roll here? What ability?
Skirmish.
It's the only one that really makes sense for that, besides Wreck.
And you're at what in skirmish?
1.
I have 3. I don't know which is better.
You guys
to lead.
So a group action. So it doesn't matter who leads. I would recommend the person leading being the one who doesn't have a lot of stress. Because
Yeah.
remember,
You're gonna have a lot more stress to use than I will.
yeah, if you make it a group action, that means that
No, I can definitely lead it.
you're gonna roll.
It would make more thematic sense, like narrative
True.
sense too.
You're gonna roll a
Like,
pool.
Marco, get in here.
You're gonna roll a pool of 4 dice, which is the maximum amount of dice you could roll, given all the teamwork options apparent to you. But you will only be able to get desperate standard effect. If you set her up, she'll roll 1 dice, or if you set him up, he'll roll 3 dice. But you can get desperate great because you're setting them up. However, that does mean that whoever sets the other one up invites a consequence upon themselves if they roll badly. There's also the option of assisting the person, where you just pay a stress and then one person rolls. I recommend the group action for this, especially because you guys have synchronized.
If the group action is desperate, do all the people involved in the group action
Yes.
get the experience point?
Yes,
Do
they
that.
all get the experience, and they
I
all
want
suffer the
experience
consequences.
points.
I mean, I'm not even conscious, so like, do I participate in the?
No, only the people who are using the same action. So they're both going to use skirmish. So if Arthur wanted to join in by also using skirmish, he could.
Okay.
But I would have to get there, right? So I couldn't use one of my arcane abilities to skirmish them. Like, could I compel a
No.
ghost to fight?
Fight another ghost, but that would be
You
an
do have a
attunement
ghost
roll.
behind you.
Right.
So,
that's the
like,
thing.
you could do that later, but in the purview of the group action, the only rule for group action is that everybody has to roll the same action. So I don't think you can really skirmish a ghost into fighting them.
Could I skirmish by tossing in a weapon?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
That'd be more finesse,
didn't
but
we-
skirmish works.
Didn't we establish that ectoplasm vials are kind of like ghost grenades from
Yeah.
the previous thing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna pitch an ectoplasm vial into the midst of the ghost, like in front of where they're attacking from.
Okay, so it's all skirmish.
Yep.
Desperate standard. Yeah.
I have figured out what the weapon is and how it works.
Okay, we'll describe it after we see how this
Okay.
roll goes.
And
Alright.
I'm shifting to get my standard.
Watch it do
effects.
nothing, but it was really cool.
Make sure everybody knows. Everybody marks their desperate XP before this
Yep.
roll.
Yeah.
I did.
Here we go.
So I'm just rolling 1.
Yep.
I got a 4.
Okay.
I got a 4.
I got a 3.
Wow. So the best we have is a partial success.
So
So
you only get 2? I thought. Oh,
2,
yeah,
3, 3.
Okay.
who was leading that action?
It was
It was me.
Ryan, because we wanted
So-
to use the person who had the least.
You're gonna take 2 stress.
Stress.
Okay.
1 stress?
Or no, 1
4,
stress.
3?
You're right. 1 stress.
Right?
You're gonna take 1
Mhm.
stress, and then you guys get a partial.
Well, partial success is
Lovely.
still good because it means she doesn't get eaten by a ghost.
Yeah.
I'm kind of ready for. I mean,
Bed?
keep going. No.
Yeah. Well, we'll get through this quickly.
You're
Hold
alright
on.
being fainted.
So what?
Let's see. I just don't faint in real life.
So describe to me what happens, because you guys are all acting as one, and these
Okay.
ghosts are like coming in on Caelin. So what happens here, guys? I'm gonna introduce the consequence, which is gonna be harm when this
Sounds a bit
occurs.
So when I see that they're fighting,
Uh-huh.
my action
Oh,
is
yeah.
from my rooftop position. I'm gonna toss down an ectoplasm grenade into the midst of where the 2 ghosts are.
Okay, so I think that hits first. So that hits and like explodes near you, Caelin, and
Mhm.
the ghosts are like they get burned for a second, but the ectoplasm like splatters over them, and the fire around them burns it away slightly. They're just like they're like hissing, and they're still going in.
Okay. I guess I take that moment of like them reacting, and so like I have this like in a sheath, and I
Mhm.
pull it out. And so I guess should I describe what it is now?
Yeah.
Okay, so the way these work is that when there are lightning strikes in areas, they take the metal ore from where the lightning has struck it, and then they forge
Ooh.
them into weapons.
Okay.
And in the hilt of the weapon is inscribed every time someone in your family dies, you inscribe their name into it.
All right.
So it has you have all the weight of your own dead ancestors in your hand.
Okay, great.
So it's kind of like a way to cross and bring allies from that realm to you. It doesn't we don't actually know if it actually does anything,
right.
but it's kind of both a ceremonial piece of heritage that's passed down through the family, as well as actually being functional.
Everybody's hands on the hilt. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. So you stab out at them with that?
Yeah, so I take the moment and I just slash up.
Okay. So you cut through one, and I think in cutting through one, the other one trades off blows and grabs you up by the arm, and
Mhm.
this fire goes
Okay.
and runs up against your arm. Marco, when do you drop in this?
As she's going in for the strike,
Okay. So what happens?
I'm I'm just dropping him with both my daggers.
You're Assassin's Creeding it.
Yeah, I'm
Like-
Assassin's Creed.
Like you're like landing on one of the ghosts.
Yes.
Like okay. So it
You
like
land in the.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I shift as I'm
the ghost
going
that's on
down.
fire.
Yeah. So like it grabs you on the arm, you're just like and it's burning you for a second. Then Marco lands and just takes it off your arm just like
Mhm.
this. And Marco, you hit, and it's like it's on the ground, and you're like pinning it to the ground, and its head goes and rotates 180 degrees, and it goes and like
Nice.
launches this fire at you. Just,
Ooh, exciting.
so
Everyone's getting burned.
you're both gonna
I
take
didn't get burned.
you're both gonna take level 2 harm.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Can I? How does special
Wraith
armor work?
burns.
Is that an ability you have,
What?
or can we all just?
That's an
spend
ability he
special
has.
armor?
You can resist to
Oh
reduce
yeah, I
harm.
have an ability.
Armor's not going to protect you from this.
Gotcha.
So if you want to
resist.
resist harm, you can do so by rolling resolve. But remember, you're going to take 6 stress minus the highest dice you roll.
So it could be 0. Resist.
We all trauma, and then they're like, "Oh man, they all passed out. Let's leave them be."
Should we resist? Do you think?
You
Oh, wait,
should
how-
always resist.
This is level 2
Alright.
harm.
Unless you're like in.
So what do you roll to resist? Just one.
What's your resolve?
My
So
resolve
you
is
have.
1.
Do you have 1 in attune, 1 in consort, 1 in sway?
I have 2 in those.
Right, but
Yeah.
you. So it's the
Yes,
first
yes.
column. So you're rolling 3 dice.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I would definitely resist
oh my
then.
gosh, sorry,
It's all right. Well,
What'd you get?
we'll finish up. What'd you
You
roll?
roll a
Nick?
1.
I get a trauma. Is what I
You
get.
traumatized?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so yeah, the firelight catches Marco in the face and he falls back.
Okay.
Caelin and Arthur are gonna be the only ones up for this. 4. So
4.
take 2 stress. Reduce it to level 1 harm.
Okay. I can't take much more stress.
Resist rolls are individual, right? There's no way
Yes.
we can help out.
No.
Unless there's a special ability that
I'm
doesn't.
gonna have a sick arm scar.
Yeah.
At least I don't have like a face scar. Sorry, Marco.
So not
Yeah, like,
worth it, this
when-
adventure.
When you guys resist that, like, how does it? What
So like I'm
happens?
just wondering like, does this fire like actually cause physical damage?
Yeah,
like,
it burns.
Like it
I knew
is
I was gonna
apparent
roll.
Yeah,
afterwards
it-
that you've been burned.
Yeah, it burns.
Okay, so it's like it's not like spirit fire, and it's like oh.
No. So
Okay.
so how do you resist the thing grabbing your arm and burning you though? So it only does less harm.
I am wearing some sort of like heavy jacket, and so
Uh-huh.
like when the minute it grabs my arm and it starts to burn, I kind of just like wrap it around it to try to just like put it out.
Okay. Cool.
So like I just
It burns right through the
or
clothes.
no actually it makes more sense for me to pull the jacket off.
Oh, and like throw it off.
Yeah, like
sure.
it's already burned me a little
So
bit, and I pull it off.
You're like pulling off, and most of the fire comes with it, but some of it just remains and like
Yeah.
burns into your skin.
I take the jacket off, and part of my skin goes with it.
So Marco, you catch this.
Like removing.
You
a
catch this
glove.
like blast of purple fire like full on in the face, but you resist. So like you like, how do you resist that, and why do you trauma?
I in what I can only describe as a miraculous burst of speed.
Okay.
I contort myself out of the way.
Okay. So you're like lying. You're like
Maybe it like burns
Thus-
like your
Thus
neck or something.
proving to myself what I've always believed, that I'm truly invincible.
Oh.
Are you reckless
Wait, you're
now?
not physically hurt?
So
this
you're
trauma.
trauma-
This
you're
trauma
traumatized.
is purely mental.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
now-
so.
Fuck you.
So
You're
now
reckless?
trauma doesn't have to doesn't have to make you pass out like it did with Ptolemy, but it does take you out of the action. So you can't take any more actions.
Yeah.
So why are you? Out
Did
of
you
the
just
action?
like faint because you don't
So
want to
it's
fight
like
anymore?
everything is
No,
possible.
I needed
So-
to faint.
Earlier
I'm
you-
unstoppable.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
So earlier you pointed out that unless there was a power, like
Because I traumatized.
I'm curious
So you're
about
now
how the
reckless
timing of things work. Like
as well.
if in the midst
Of
of
his hand?
Yeah.
Marco about to take
You thought I was reckless before.
a blast of fire to the face, is it possible for me to take an action to try to interfere with that, or is that like
No,
all a
I
singular
think it's too
event?
quick. So generally,
Right.
I've let this go by before, but
Yeah.
generally, you make the roll, you fail the roll, you take the consequence. You can resist the consequence if need be.
Okay.
I think in some cases where it makes fictional sense, you can act at the times like that. But in this case, I think it happens way too fast.
Okay, so it's not like I could use my ability, leap off the building, and try to interfere with.
I think that's going to take way too long.
Okay.
So do you just like start laughing maniacally, Marco?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
I
you're just
do.
like, okay. All right. So
That is no good.
I think at this moment, like the one ghost
And,
is like,
and my clothes are singed, but like I'm unharmed.
yeah. So like one ghost is like pinned to the ground by Marco's knives, and the other one, Caelin slashed at, so it's like stumbled back, and you can tell they're both wounded because the fire is like going over parts of them and then interrupting. It's not covering their whole bodies anymore, and it's flowing to other parts. It looks kind of junky and jarring. And then at that moment, there's this like clatter of feet, and these two spirit wardens wearing full masks like round the corner.
Oh god.
Oh.
Thank God.
Yeah. So they come around the corner and they see these ghosts and they see that they're attacking you guys, and they just like draw weapons immediately and go charging in to fight these things.
Oh. Okay.
Well, I'll help.
So
Yeah.
do we know enough about how these things work? Like, if they come and fight these guys, do we also end up like
I'm so dumb.
arrested for being like ghost pickers or something like
It
that?
depends on
kind
how
of
smooth
excited
you
to
are
be
or how
like
quickly you
this
can get
now.
away.
Okay, because one person
Well, we
is
can't get away
unconscious
really
and the other one is like crazy, so getting away quickly doesn't seem to be in the cards.
They don't like rogue whispers. You
Uh-huh.
know that much. I'm gonna roll for the spirit wardens here to see how well they can handle these things.
Okay.
And then we'll tell it from there.
Spirit
Alright.
wardens die instantly.
No, they got a 4. It's a partial. And with the previous work you guys were doing against these things, I think it's fair. So like,
Well, you mean like they're also like kind of like super ghosts.
yeah. So like one of the spirit wardens, but you guys already hurt them. Some is what I'm saying.
Right.
So one of the spirit wardens gets like, one of the ghosts like slams a hand up against him, and he goes like flying back with like this handprint burn in his chest.
Uh-huh.
And the other one runs in and like cuts. He like drags. He pulls out this. He pulls out this long saber like thing, and it's got these charms hanging off of it. He pulls out and he drags it along the ground and runs it through the neck of the ghost who's lying on the ground. And that ghost's body like catches fire and just like burns away into ectoplasm. And then he twirls the sword in the same motion and spins and cuts the head off the other one.
Show
Oh.
off.
And it goes,
Wow.
it goes kind of flying like that, and they like, flame away in fire. And then he pauses for a sec, like breathing, and the other spirit warden like picks himself up with a handprint burn in his chest. Starts to stand up. And they look like they're about to say something to all of you, like get out of here and stuff, when they both suddenly freeze, like they can't move.
Nice.
Of course.
And Arthur, you turn to look across to the adjoining building, and Caelin, I don't know if Marco notices this because he might be like freaked out still.
I'm like staring
Isn't
at
he
the
laughing
sky, like,
maniacally?
rolling
yeah,
Like,
around.
oh, I'm the greatest.
But you see the desiccated corpse of Alput Khan up on top of the roof,
Ooh.
and he looks down at everybody there, and the spirit wardens are like, stuck there. They like can't move. They're,
Like he's
shaking.
frozen them.
Yeah, he's like frozen them, and
Since when can he do that?
he leaps down from the building.
Has he frozen us?
No, he hasn't frozen you guys. He leaps down from the building and lands, just lands just like that.
Oh, sweet.
Does that wake me up?
Yeah, you can be waking up.
Oh, okay. So
Taking actions is out of the question, but you can still be like.
Here's your big chance. You're invincible. Alphakan can't
so
kill you.
so the impact of him jumping
You do it really
disturbs
good.
the city so much that I wake
Don't
up.
do that. It's really creepy.
Yeah,
And
so
I'm
you
like-
wake up and Alput Khan's corpse is standing
No.
like right over you.
Stop.
Oh, he lands with like
I
is it
don't like
Thor
that
landing?
face. Oh god, you're
No,
so
it's not.
creepy.
It's not the one fist.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the crouched knees with the hands up.
Oh yes, nice.
And he walks over to one of the spirit
He
wardens
does an
who's
Iron Man
frozen
it.
and like grabs him by the collar of his robes and pulls him forward and rips the mask off. And you can see as he grabs the mask, it like burns his hand where he grabs it.
Oh, free mask.
He like rips it off and throws it away and like
Now I can get a
sticks
feel
his
for it.
hand on the guy's face. Unless you guys stop me if people are doing things.
All right, so I want to do something.
Okay.
But this pastry is delicious as well. So the spirit warden
Real
is about to
problems.
be eaten, right?
Yeah.
So let me just clarify: is a mummy like a thing that is like not? So you know how ghosts are just spirits, right?
Yeah.
And
You
are
don't
mummies
know.
just like animated?
They look
like,
like animated
possessed?
corpses.
Yeah.
So
they're,
there
like,
are these things in this world called hollows, which
Right,
are
which are
bodies without spirits.
Yeah, just like how
Right.
fragile is he though?
But it looks like one of those, like a desiccated corpse.
Sure.
But it doesn't have like eyes or anything like that. But it's definitely way more powerful than your average hollow.
All right. So in that case, can I use compel in a non-mean way? You know how
No.
normally compel goes as like, "Hey, do this thing."
That compel is compelling.
Okay. So if I fail, he'll probably just eat me for being like so.
It's going to be
so
desperate
brash.
zero effect.
Great. I'm
Oh,
gonna be...
okay. So there's no way I can compel him.
Unless you
It's
want to
too
push
far.
yourself to have limited.
No, I already have less effect. So,
Okay. Oh, okay.
so
We should have just robbed diamonds and let the mummy
Yeah.
like
At-
take over the city.
At the same time, though,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to
You're reckless. now.
immediately hop to my feet.
No.
And sprint at the mummy.
No.
You just like run right at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
While he's messing with.
Are you
the
tired
spirit
of your
guy.
character?
Are there any?
He's got trauma.
Are there
He's
ghosts
trauma.
nearby
He's
that I
Doesn't
can
mean you
compel?
have to do that.
Yeah.
You know I get
Alright.
experience.
I'm gonna compel a ghost to
messing with my trauma, right?
knock that ghost warden
Spirit warden.
out of the way.
I'm gonna stop you.
Okay.
Like
Stop, Marco.
yeah,
Yeah.
like poltergeist him. Like basically, as Apukan is trying to grab his face, I'm gonna have a ghost like basically just knock this guy back.
Okay. Risky standard.
All right,